Holy cow, look at the wines on this thing. They're saving $46 and getting free shipping. Who approved this? We're all gonna have to take pay. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Snow Worries wine tasting. Oh my gosh, how am I gonna pay for Christmas? Hey guys, welcome to the Snow Worries virtual wine tasting. Glad you guys are joining us, and you've seen Elf on the Shelf. I'm Frank on the couch. I'm gonna be your wine tasting guide today. You've got a huge box here of wines, but we're gonna start out talking a little bit about our garlic Parmesan oyster crackers that come with it. Personally, when I was a kid, one of my best friends, his family would always do oyster stew at Christmas time. But these are awesome. Try these out. We're gonna head out with the wines right now. Now, you do have a tasting sheet there, so get this out. You're gonna mark on there what you liked, what you didn't like. That way you can give it to your host afterwards and say, hey, you can get me these for Christmas, okay? That's the idea. That is the idea. So there's your tasting sheet. Make sure you get that out. 1 through 5, mark which ones you liked, which ones you didn't like. That way you have an idea what you liked and what you didn't like. Let's get right into this though. We're gonna start out with a very hard to get wine. This is a brand new wine for 2023. We just came out with this a month and a half, 2 months ago. This is called Midnight Magnolia Reserve. Now, I'm sure a lot of you who have had our wines before have had our Midnight Magnolia, okay? Now, we've got several Magnolia wines. We got our House Magnolia, which is a very good wine. One of my favorites, though, is the Pink Magnolia. Now, that is our Magnolia grape, and another muscadine red grape blended together that makes a good blush, but this trumps all of them. This is our Midnight Magnolia Reserve. Midnight Magnolia, what that is one of our estate wines. Now what that means, there's a couple things that means. First of all, we have to grow those grapes. We've got we've got a lot, not just several, a lot of growers that grow grapes for us, okay? So if you get one of our estate wines though, like our Midnight Magnolia or our Midnight Magnolia Reserve, that means that we grew those grapes here in Duplin County, North Carolina. They were grown by us, not one of our growers. So these are homegrown grapes. The other thing we do with this is we do a cold fermentation on this. We ferment this at about 52 degrees. It gives you a little bit smoother finish on your wine. But now the Reserve, the Midnight Magnolia Reserve, goes a step above that. So every so often we'll get a crop of grapes that are almost perfect, where when we make the wines, we don't have to add quite so much yeast because those natural yeasts are in there. So it actually does a lot of that fermentation naturally. So it gives you a much, much smoother finish. So our Midnight Magnolia is a very smooth finished wine, but that Midnight Magnolia Reserve takes it up to about 11. So let's give this a taste. Cheers, guys. Definitely taste that Magnolia muscadine grape in there. Normal, regular Midnight Magnolia, you get a little bit of that skin taste in it. This Reserve, you don't get that kind of after skin taste in that. Such a smooth wine, I'm telling you. Save this one, go buy an extra bottle of it and save it for a nice night you have sometime where you want to celebrate something, because this is a great wine, man. And it's only going to be around for a little bit. So you definitely want to get yourself a bottle of this if you're at this tasting, you don't have one at home. Now our next wine though, it's one of my favorite of our Christmas wines, but I really do like this Naughty and Nice. It's probably my second favorite of our Christmas wines. And it is our white muscadine blend. So what you've got in here, you've got all of our white muscadine grapes that we use, but then we've thrown in a grape that is a non-muscadine. And that non-muscadine grape that's in there is the Niagara. So Niagara grapes, you find them up pretty much upstate New York, maybe Ohio, Pennsylvania. But those grapes are a very sweet grape, and they blend very well with our muscadines. In fact, some of the wines that we make here at Duplin Wine, some of my favorites are the ones where we do use a non-muscadine and a muscadine blended together, because I love muscadines, but when you have those two non-muscadines and muscadines blending together, it makes for a very sweet, very delicious, smooth wine. So let's give this a taste. Cheers, guys. Goes down. It's got a very smooth taste, very sweet. You're looking at about 11 or 12% sugar content in this one. Whereas your Midnight Magnolia Reserve, you're looking at about 10 to 11. Just a little bit sweeter. And it's just got that oh, that muscadine taste just blows right out at you. Then you get that Niagara on the finish of that. Love that wine. Now our next wine is another one of our newer wines. This is Southern Mist. Now, if you guys follow us on our social media pages or come into any of our wineries that we have, we've got 3 of them. We've got one in right here in Rose Hill, North Carolina, one in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and then we got a new one in Panama City Beach, Florida. We'll talk about that a little bit later here. But this is our Southern Mist. So if you've been in any of those locations, you know we came out with a Muscadine Moscato back in about March. Well, that went so well that we wanted to do the same wine but have a little bit of sparkle thrown in there. So this is our bubbly version of that Muscadine Moscato, and it's called Southern Mist. You're looking at about 11%, 10% sugar content on this, right around there. So let's give this a taste. Cheers, guys. That Muscadine, if you ever had Moscato, you know Moscato is a very sweet wine also. Those 2 grapes blended together, that Muscadine and that Moscato, are awesome. With this, it is totally awesome, okay? With that little bit of bubbly in there, it makes for a good mimosa too. If you like mimosas, add a little bit of pineapple juice to this. I'll take about a champagne glass, fill about 2/3 with the Southern Mist. That last third, pour a little bit of pineapple juice in there, and that makes for a really, really, really totally awesome mimosa on a nice Sunday morning, mid-afternoon. So our next wine though, speaking of bubblies, we've got our Orange Blossom. Now, I mentioned that we opened up in PCB, Panama City Beach, Florida, just this past summer. We've been there, we opened up June 27th, I believe it was, June 27th. I was actually down there working for the whole summer, and so was Jeff, our camera guy, who's sitting right back there. He was down there, I was down there. Madison and Zach have been down there for God knows how long, October, I think they've been down there, and they're finally back. But we've had Mary Kay's been down there. We've had all kinds of people come down there and help out this summer. They're getting a lot of people working in there, and if you get a chance, definitely go down there. I'm telling you, check it out. But this is our signature wine for down there. It's one of our signature wines, and this is our Orange Blossom. We came out with this when we opened up there. We wanted something that says, hey, we're here, Florida, and this is what we came up with. So this is a blush. It's got a little bit of that Scuppernong grape in it, and a little bit of one of our red muscadine grapes. And then we've added a little bit of orange zest to the finish of this, and that sparkle. So you'll see the bubbles in there, but the taste on this, well, go ahead and taste it. Cheers. You smell that orange. You get that orange zest at the very finish of that. It doesn't kick you in the teeth. It's not like you're drinking a Fanta, okay? You get that muscadine taste in there at first. On the finish of this, it just kicks in like, hey, I got some orange in here. That's exactly what you got. This one, I've tried the pineapple juice with this to do a mimosa. I really like orange juice with this one. This one makes a really good orange juice mimosa. So check that out. You can get that. Definitely, if you come to any of our retail stores, either in North Carolina, South Carolina, or Florida, you can pick that up. If you're down there in Florida, tell everybody I said hello. Me and Jeff miss you guys a lot down there. So guys, definitely check that out. Now our next wine that we have is the Flamingo Jingle. Flamingo Jingle, this is our newest Christmas wine for this year. Now what I mean by that, every year we do our Naughty and Nice and we do our Christmas wine or our Christmas red, whichever one you want to call it. Some people call it Christmas red, some people call it Christmas wine. But what this is our new blush for this year. So we do a different blush every year for our Christmas wines. This year it's called Flamingo Jingle. And again, we opened up in Panama City Beach, Florida this year. We wanted to tie into that. So if you check that out, it's got some flamingos on there. They're wearing the Santa hats, and it looks like they're getting ready to party. They got little jingle bells around their necks. Looks like they want to be, they want to pull Santa's sleigh instead of Rudolph and those guys, I think. So that's what they're kind of auditioning for, I think, on this label. But this is a blush. It's a very smooth blush. You're looking at about a 10% sugar content. Out of the 3 Christmas wines this year, you know, Naughty and Nice, Christmas wine, great, but I love this one. This is my favorite of the three of them. It's very smooth. It's got a little bit of a citrus taste on the end of it. I think we did that because of that Florida connection. You get a little bit of the lemon lime flavor on the end of this. And again, it's another one. It doesn't kick you in the teeth. It's not like you're drinking Sprite. It's just got a little bit of that hint on the end of it. So cheers, guys. Goes down so smooth, nice and sweet, and you get a little bit of that lemon lime taste on the end. I get more of a lemon taste, but some people have told me they get a little bit more of a lime. Again, a lot of that's up to your own palate. I love that wine. We're gonna go to another blush called Sangria Rosé. Now, for those of you who've been around for a while here at Duplin Winery, you know we came out with a red and a white sangria back in 2015. Actually, when we opened it up in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, we came out with those two that same year. Well, the white has kind of a peach mango taste. The red has more of a strawberry finish on it. What happened was, while we were there in North Myrtle Beach at the winery, one of the bartenders was outside on the deck and they were working the service bar. Somebody came up to him and said, you know, I really like that white, I really like that red, but I think those would be really great just blended together. So that's what they did. They took those two bottles, blended them together. Person tasted it and they're like, God bless America, that's good. So that particular bartender ended up giving it to everybody they saw that day. And they called it God Bless America. So we were having people coming in there to our North Myrtle Beach location asking for the God Bless America, and we just mix it up there and they drink it like that. Well, about 3 years later, we decided, hey, why aren't we doing this? Why don't we just mix them together and call it Sangria Rosé? So that's what we did. So instead of having to take those two bottles, blend them together right in front of you, now you've got this right in a bottle like this. Now, like I said, the white has more of a peach mango finish to it. The red's got kind of a strawberry finish. The Sangria Rosé, the blush, to me, is a very fruity taste. I would call it the Tutti Frutti of wines is what I would call it. Because honestly, when I taste this, I taste that mango, I taste that peach, I taste that strawberry, I taste all those flavors all blended together. So it's time for you guys to taste this now. Cheers. You do. You get all those fruit flavors blended together. Our next is our Christmas wine. Now this wine, to me, tastes most like a muscadine grape right off the vine. Now, I grew up in North Carolina, and I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and we played out in the woods a lot where I grew up. We would be out in the woods playing all day, you know. Mom would come out at night, and if we hadn't come in by dusk, she'd yell for us, and we'd come running. But you'd come in, you had that ring around your neck of dirt, you know what I'm talking about. You guys used to play out in the woods. But during the day, we would find these muscadines growing out in the wild. I mean, they used the trees as support. So you'd find these vines growing up the trees. You'd take those grapes right off the trees, you eat them. There's two ways you can eat them. You can either pop the whole thing in your mouth, eat the skin and the flesh, spit the seeds out, or you can pop it and just eat the flesh, spit the seeds out, and throw the skin on the ground. Some people don't like the skin because it's a very thick-skinned grape. But this, to me, I tell you all this, I know I'm long-winded on this, but I tell you all this because this one reminds me of that as a kid. It tastes exactly like those muscadines right off those vines, running through those woods back in Lexington, North Carolina, where I grew up. So when I taste this, it takes me back to that. So cheers, guys. There's to playing in the woods as a kid and eating those grapes right off those vines. I'm telling you, that reminds me almost exactly. I love that Christmas wine. So that's going to bring us to our last wine that we're going to try. And this is our Queen Anne's Revenge. Now, most of these wines, for the most part, these not counting the Midnight Magnolia Reserve, which is one of our specialty wines. It's a little bit more expensive than the rest of them. But this one is our most expensive wine that we make year-round. And this is called Queen Anne's Revenge. So it's it's one of our most complex wines is what I would say. The reason I say that is all of these wines, you do have that muscadine taste to it, okay? So you get that muscadine taste. You have some different finishes on them. Some of them are smoother. Some of them have a little bit more of a bite to them. That's what I call that skin taste, that muscadine bite. This Queen Anne's Revenge, you do get the muscadine at the beginning of this, okay? Now the finish of this, it's gonna have kind of a peppery taste. Now this one is a little bit more expensive. Most of these are anywhere between the $10 and $15 range. This one is $31, $32 to be exact. It's gonna be a little, it's got a peppery taste to it. That's what it does. You're gonna get that muscadine taste, and then to finish that, and when I say peppery, I don't mean like jalapeno, not that kind of pepper. I'm talking black pepper. It does, it's got that taste to the finish of it. That makes this one go very well with any kind of beef. Now, when I say any kind of beef, you can do it with a pot roast, you can do it with whatever. But I love this one with either filet or a ribeye. Those are my two favorite types of beef to go with this. Because you get that peppery finish on the end of this, it pairs very well with either a filet or a ribeye or a New York strip if you're a New York strip kind of person. I'm more of a ribeye or filet, so you know that's what I go towards. But it would be good with a New York strip also. But let's give this a taste. Cheers, guys. That muscadine first. You're gonna get a little bit of pepper on the end of this. There it is. It kicks in right there, right at the end. Takes about 2 seconds, and then you get that peppery taste. Now the smell on this one, I don't talk about the smells on a lot of these because that muscadine is an overpowering smell as far as that. It's just a very, very distinct grape smell. This one though, as you're drinking it, I almost get a little bit of cherry in there too on the smell of that. That smell transfers that taste a little bit. So you get a little bit of that cherry taste, but definitely that pepper finish on this. Love that wine. If I'm looking for something to go with a good steak, this is what I go with. So that's our Queen Anne's Revenge. It's not an everyday drinking wine for me, but for those nights when I want just something special, I go with this one or that Midnight Magnolia Reserve. This one you're not gonna be able to get for very long. This one's always there. So that's the big difference between those two. Now you see the muscadine cider we have. That's our non-alcoholic muscadine cider. The reason we have this out here, it is good to drink by itself, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna taste it right now because what we're gonna do is we are going to do our jingle spice. I wanna do the jingle spice first. What this is a mix, okay? So this has a bunch of spices in it. You got a little bit of nutmeg in here, some cinnamon, all kinds of stuff in here. What you're gonna do, you're gonna take that muscadine cider, this package, and then it tells you right here, it's gonna be a bottle of Christmas wine, a bottle of our muscadine cider, this packet, and then you're gonna add in a gallon of apple juice, and you can do two things, because you can do this two different ways. You can either use 2 cups of Country Time lemonade, and you're gonna use the pink Country Time lemonade. If you use 2 cups, it's gonna be a little bit more sour. We use 1. It's gonna say 2 on here. I would start out with 1 cup and taste it. If you don't like it, if it's a little bit more sour you'd like, add a little bit more. That's completely up to you. I like it with 1, but it's gonna say 2 cups on here just to let you know. You're gonna mix that together, put it in a crock pot, put it on the stove. Don't boil it. If you boil it, you're gonna boil out the alcohol in that. You don't wanna do that. After it's boiled and it's hot, you're gonna drink that. Okay, so this to me tastes like apple pie. Okay, it tastes like warm apple pie right out of the oven. So this goes really well with any kind of desserts. So if you're gonna do a dessert one night, and this is an easy thing to make, you can actually put it together, put it in the refrigerator, and if you just wanna do it by the cup, you can put it in the microwave. If you're not having a party, it's a good party drink, but if it's just you, or you and one other person, you don't want to heat the whole thing up, you can put it in a cup, put it in a microwave, heat it up a little bit, and this is what you'll get. Cheers, guys. It is. It's like drinking warm apple pie. I'm telling you, it really is. This would go good with just a bowl of ice cream. I mean, seriously, it really would. I'd do this on ice. I might even take ice cream, add a little milk to it, pour some of this on top of it, make a milkshake out of it. That would even be good. So I'm gonna have a little bit more of this because there's not a lot of alcohol in this. But that's really good. So that is our jingle spice. You guys are gonna love that, I'm telling you. So then the last thing that we're gonna do tonight, or today, whenever you're watching this, is our jingle juice. Now this is our new Christmas sweetser, all right? So what this is, you've got 2 packs in here. You got 1 pack that goes with half a bottle of the wine that it calls for. In this case, we're gonna use the Flamingo Jingle. So you've got that Flamingo Jingle in this pack. Take half a bottle of that, 1 of those packs in here, mix that together, make sure all of that powder, because the pack in there looks like Kool-Aid. Once you open it up, pour that together, mix it up, and then pour that in a blender of ice. And what you're gonna get when you're done, and I got one made here and I've got it in my stainless steel cup here to keep it frozen while we're doing the tasting. I'll grab a new glass here, pour that in there. This is what you're gonna get, okay? So it's essentially an adult slushie, okay? Now the nice thing about these, I had to cheat a little bit there. The nice thing about these is, since you've got 2 packs in here, you can make 1 pack for the adults, do it with the wine. If you got kids, you know, kids want to join in with the adults, they want to have a good time too. You can make 1 of these without alcohol in it. Now you could use the muscadine cider with that. We do have other muscadine juices that we use, our non-alcoholic muscadine wines. We got a white and a red. I would either use the cider or the red muscadine with that if you're gonna make one for the kids. I've got a niece. We make them for her. If we make one, take them down to the lake, the ocean, wherever. We make one for us, make one for her. When it's time for her to go to bed, we switch it up. We don't, I promise. We don't do that, I'm joking, okay? But yeah, the kids love them. You can make one non-alcoholic, so it's really good. We're gonna taste this. This one kind of has I would say a mixed berry taste with a little bit of that Christmas spice in it. What I mean by that, got a little bit of hints of cinnamon in there, maybe a hint of nutmeg, stuff like that. So cheers, guys. Man, these are good. Nice thing about these, all right, we had the hot jingle spice right here. This is for, I would say if you live upstate New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania this time of year, this is great. I don't want this in South Carolina. I'm telling you right now, it's 80 degrees outside. And what is it, October, almost November? What I want in that Florida area, you PCB people that are watching this is what you want, okay? You want that jingle juice. This is gonna cool you down. That's why we added both of these to both of these, or both of these to this tasting. We did that because we knew, some of you guys up north, it's getting cold up there. Put your winter jackets on. You guys down in Florida, jump in the water, take these with you because I'm sure it's 100 degrees down there because I sweated my toes off down there this summer. But these are both great. We got one for each area of the country. So until next time, thanks for joining us. We'll have more of these out all throughout the year, so make sure you check all these out. But guys, come see us wherever you live. Make a trip. We'll see you when you get here. This is Frank. I'm done.